the one thing I really do not like, and I hate when people
Every
do
time
this.
a toast comes, like
It's like, here's our toast to a great night.
Wait, what are
and
those
we
things?
should have this conversation.
A toast hates to see the Housewives coming, because
It's such a good one.
because
That's a good one.
as soon as the toast happens, it starts out nice, and then immediately by the end, it's like, and I know we have our issues, and we should talk about them right now at this table.
Right now. Welcome back to Bonded by Bravo. I'm your host, Amy, joined with my co-host, Jenna. Happy freaking Monday. Do we like doing Monday episodes? I can't decide yet.
I don't know. They're just like long. I don't go to work till 9 p.m. on a Monday, so it makes my day so long because I get up, I got up at 8. So then that means I'm up for almost 24 hours.
Ew.
But
oh my God, 9 p.m. Okay, so stay tuned. We'll see what we're going to be doing with this whole we were just trying to accommodate the new Bravo schedule, but it doesn't seem it matters what we're going to be doing because there are shows every day of the week. I'm inundated. I can't keep up.
I mean, honestly, literally, I'm on episode 4 of Bravo TV this morning. I'm watching RHONY right now. I mean, I didn't get all of it on the outline. Luckily, not luckily, I did it intentionally, saved RHONY for last, because even though this episode, it's just, there's not a ton to recap in it, which honestly, I kind of appreciate, because it can't be, it's just too much. It's easy. And we don't even do Potomac. So it's there's still, or Below Deck, there's so much that we're not even commenting on.
I know, because remember, we really started this thinking we were going to go Vanderpump, Below Deck heavy. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And this season, I had a weekend where I was catching up on stuff, and I did all episodes of Below Deck, and it's actually a pretty juicy season.
Is it?
Just because it's we talk about it all the time, that it's the perfect formula. Yeah. And again, it's the perfect formula, but we'll get into it. We have a lot to talk about today. I mean, so much is happening in the world of pop culture and news. Mm-hmm. Me and you haven't even talked about if you saw Wicked, if you were gonna see Wicked. It's overtaken all of my algorithms.
I did not see it.
You didn't?
We went to dinner instead.
That's fair. It's a commitment. It's a commitment.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. It's just a little too long. That's such a chunk out of the day.
It's so wild because first of all, Wicked is everything. Even if you're not a musical theater person, it blew me away. It was mind blowing, and I think everybody expected Cynthia Erivo to be incredible and sing incredible. And everyone knows, I think, Ariana Grande more as a singer than they do as an actor. And her acting in this it was so good. It was so good. She was the comedic energy that you needed. And she had me LOLing. She just really, really blew me away. I expected Cynthia Erivo to be incredible. And it's not that I didn't expect Ariana Grande, but it was just such a pleasant surprise. And it was so emotional. Tears so many times. The music was incredible. And I think even if you're not a musical theater or musical, even if you don't love musicals, I still think you would love this.
I believe that. I mean, it seems like everyone's loving it, so I can't imagine that I wouldn't.
Yeah. I came back and I told my husband, and he's like, should I go see it? And I was like, oh my God, should we go again? Because I would absolutely go again. The Golden Globe nominations came out today, and Cynthia and Ariana were both nominated. Cynthia for lead and Ariana for supporting actress in a musical or comedy. Which is, I just, I love Ariana Grande and have a little soft spot in my heart for her. So I think they'll be taking over. I mean, their press tour like had taken over everywhere.
Yeah. Sure has.
It's like
I'm actually not surprised that you found that Ariana had the comedic relief, because I feel like she's one of the best hosts on SNL.
Agreed.
That's like, I feel like when she's on it, I watch it, which like I don't regularly watch it, but I just know that she's good on there. So I feel like this aligns with that.
It was so beyond that. I can't even tell you, because I agree. I've seen her on SNL and she does make me giggle, because we've all said like SNL is it's actually funny. My friend did background work on SNL this past weekend and was telling me all of the scoop. It was Paul Mescal, my other like huge life crush, talent crush, and real life crush. And she was just saying how like we like the SNL of like our day and how we grew up with like Molly Shannon and Will Ferrell, and for me, Sherry O'Terry, and like it's just not that anymore. And she said even the vibes on set feel different. But anyway,
it was such a different climate back then too.
Yeah.
And I don't like to put the blame on that. I know that like people have come out and be like, oh, just because it's like you can still be funny without the PC of it all. And I'm like, true, but I do think it is just a different climate.
Yeah.
And that grind that I think was so normal back in the day, where people like have all their boundaries now and stuff about,
boundaries. What an interesting, that's so funny.
That didn't even exist up until like 5 years ago, 10 years ago.
But it's funny because that's actually interesting. That was one of the things she said, is that she was looking at the new cast members, and some of them are like got TikTok famous, and that's how they got on there. And you can be a comedian now on TikTok, and like that's how you can get started. And I'm not knocking it, because if you want to give me a TV show and you want to give me an audition for SNL because of what I do on TikTok, go ahead. It's just interesting the way that people are found. It's not like, you're doing the clubs and getting in that way anymore. Yeah. I was listening to Armchair Expert, and Lisa Kudrow was on today, and she was talking about how she was in the Groundlings and talking about the grind and how different it was. And yeah, you're right. It's a different animal. But Ariana Grande, she just exceeded my expectations. I don't know how to say it in a different way, because I always loved her. But yeah. And speaking of incredible women that we love, last night was
I was going to segue the exact same way. So
I
was like going to say something like, speaking of powerful pop stars.
Yeah. I just think it should be noted that last night was Taylor's End of the Errors tour in Vancouver.
That I can't believe it's over. For so long. I mean,
and we never got tickets.
Nope.
How do you feel about it? I feel like I saw it.
I would really have loved to go. It's just so much money, and like the logistics around going, and it just seems like a lot, frankly.
Just a lot.
I don't really go to shows that are on that scale in general. Like I'm not going to a Madison Square Garden show. Like maybe I've done it once for Fish and once for Dead & Co. Like typically I'm just not doing those huge scale events. I just don't I don't love them. I like the smaller, very intimate. That are like, I like to see shows at places that are like a bar by day and like can be a venue at night.
And it's also like nowadays, the price tag on concerts has made it like a class thing. It's really crazy. It really is crazy.
And then I start to think like, for that ticket price, where can I go? Like,
Yeah,
I would so much rather like fly
go a
to
lot
New
of
York
places.
or go back home to Philly or like go to LA for the weekend as
I mean,
opposed to paying for the ticket in like my own city or something.
and
You know what I
not
mean?
where you could go 2 or 3 times to those places
Yeah,
for what the
honestly.
tickets were.
Yeah,
I'm
I
like
just
some of these tickets you could go on a safari.
yeah.
There
And
was a
those are really
TikTok. Yeah, and there was a TikTok and it was of these girls and this woman was walking around saying, "Would you," and it was at the concert, "Would you rather have $10,000 or 2 front row tickets to Taylor Swift?"
it's like not that's a no-brainer.
And
Like
I
I
was
can't
sitting
even
there, I was
believe it.
like, love you,
$10,000.
Taylor, but
But
give me the 10 grand. I'm
I'll
sorry.
blast. I'm a top listener. She was my most listened to. Like I
Oh my
can blast
God.
it in my own house.
She was mine too, which is very interesting. It was her and then Stevie Wonder.
My other one, I had Zach Bryan on there. I was so sad. I
Ew.
know.
Boo.
His music
Speaking
is
of,
good. I know.
uh,
Speaking of shitty men.
I know. Well,
Well, we don't know, I guess. Oh.
Brianna LaPaglia was at the concert last night. Dave Portnoy was able to secure her seats for
Oh, that's
the
nice.
last night of the Eras tour. Yeah. But yeah, speaking of allegations,
Allegations. There we
great
go.
segue. Shit's about to
Jay-Z.
hit the fan. Shit is
Yeah.
hitting the fan. I sent a text to my friend last night and was like, it's happening. I don't
She
think any
Go
of
ahead.
us who have done the work and been involved, like have done our TikTok deep dives, are
Shocked.
that shocked by the allegations that came out last night about Jay-Z. So last night there was a statement released by Jay-Z. Jay-Z was named in the lawsuit. The same lawsuit that was named where we talked about it on here, I think a month and a half ago, where Diddy was named about raping a 13-year-old girl after the VMAs in 2000. And it has since been named allegedly in this lawsuit that Jay-Z is the other profile rapper. And I think we even speculated that, or there was speculation that it was him. And then there was another female unnamed who was in the room watching while this happened. Is that Beyonce? Is that not? Do we know? Allegedly, we do not know the answer to that, but interesting to see if we'll ever find out that name.
Why do you think it was released yesterday and why just the one name and not the woman who was there?
So I don't know why the woman wasn't. Apparently, they sent a letter to Jay-Z saying, like, here's an opportunity for you to answer. Hold on. I need to read I have to read it because I'm going to speak out of turn. And it was very interesting because the Tony Busby guy came back and was like, you're not going to intimidate us. The woman, hold on, let me read it.
I was shocked at how quickly what was his name? Something Busby.
Yeah, Tony Busby.
I can't believe how quickly he came back with a response after Jay-Z. It was like I felt like I was on the internet. I got off. I got back on. There was already a response. I was like,
exactly.
Holy shit.
So the Jane Doe accuser says Jay-Z raped her. The lawsuit was originally filed and only named Diddy. It was refiled Sunday, December 8th, naming Sean.
Okay.
Which was yesterday. She says she was raped after she was offered a drink that made her. She says she then went into a room to rest, and Jay-Z and Diddy came into the room after, asking her if she was ready to party. She claims Jay-Z then removed her clothes, held her down, and raped her as Diddy and an unnamed woman watched. Diddy is denied, and Jay-Z came out with this very powerful statement, or very saying that my lawyer received a blackmail attempt called a demand letter from Tony Busby. He has no idea how this is deplorable human, Mr. Busby, but he has nothing to do with this. And that his only heartbreak is that he's going to have to explain this to his wife and kids. And he said, you've made a terrible error in judgment. So then Tony Busby comes back defending this, saying, regarding the Jay-Z and his efforts to silence my client, Mr. Carter previously denied being the one who sued me and his firm. So Jay-Z basically sued Tony Busby when he found out that he was going to release his name. and he sued him under a
How did he do that
pseudonym.
so fast?
This was back in October when it was
Oh, I was
filed.
like, oh my God, wait, this
Yeah.
happened yesterday.
What he fails to say in his recent statement is my firm sent a lawyer and a demand letter on behalf of an alleged victim, and the victim never demanded a penny from him. Instead, she only sought a confidential mediation. Since I sent the letter on her behalf, Mr. Carter has not only sued me, but he has tried to bully and harass me and this plaintiff. His conduct has had the opposite impact. She is emboldened. I'm very proud of her. So what Tony Busby is alleging in that is basically saying that Jay-Z is trying to, he's not taking the, he thinks that this is blackmail. However, he's also trying to do the same thing. He's trying to get around this, allegedly, and was probably not thinking his name would ever be put out there and is trying to save his face. I feel that this is going to be the beginning.
Damn.
I just feel like this is going to be the beginning. He's calling out now for this person to reveal themselves. For the plaintiff to reveal themselves.
God, Hollywood is so dark.
That's what this is. This is giving.
This is like all this. That's like, yeah, Hollywood is just so freaking weird and dark, and
it's really scary. Like
it's
this
so
woman
scary.
she could potentially, like, she's putting her life at risk.
Totally.
For real, like, no joke.
Yeah, think about all the people they're all connected to and have paid off along the, like, oh boy.
I just think that Jay-Z is not going to go down without a fight. And
No
I
way.
also think that there's probably there's more people out there that Jay-Z has. If you have watched any of the TikTok, Jaguar rights of the world, like, Jay-Z's been kind of the mastermind behind all of this for a really long time, allegedly. Really? Yeah. Yeah.
Damn.
And the fact that this guy, Tony Busby, has said that, I mean, thank God for this guy, Tony Busby. What Jay-Z's trying to say is that Tony Busby's going out to all of these high-end, high profile celebs, trying to get monetary settlements from them, and so that they won't be named in these lawsuits. And he might be doing that, but why are we going to protect these people? Why are we not naming them? Why are they just going to be able to go about their lives after allegedly raping underage women and it probably even being worse than that? Why is money the okay answer to this? I just can't wrap my head around it.
It feels like because money is more important than women.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I feel, like, that's all that's telling me is that women are just so
women and children, because
class.
Let's talk about
to these men that like they're not seen as like full humans with like lives and trauma and all of it. It's
so disturbing. And we've read some of it, what happened with Diddy, but I feel like right now, Jay-Z, like Diddy did the same thing a few months before everything came out about him, where he kind of did this, like, I can't believe I'm going to have to talk to Diddy is still in jail claiming his innocence. Is still in jail claiming his innocence. His lawyer responded to this claim and said, "We will have our day in court." You can't be serious. There's video of him beating the shit out of Cassie.
I was just about to bring up that video. Like, there's just no denying. At minimum, there's just no denying that that man is a monster. That video was so disturbing. And that was in a hallway, not even behind closed doors.
No. And we know what happened with that video. He paid off the hotel $50,000 to get rid of that. It's not, but he knows what money, like, he's like, oh, great, cool.
But again, it speaks to the money over women. Yeah. Like, $50,000 is, I would take, but like, not for that, but like, $50,000. Why, like, to see that video and think, okay, I'll take the money instead of that is so deeply disturbing.
Yeah. And it also, just to bring this back
Ugh.
crazy to Brianna LaPaglia, she was offered $12.9 million as a 25-year-old woman to not tell her abuser's story. And to just shut her mouth about her abuser's story. And this is something that, like, you know, this is how the world works, you know, and it's a shame that this isn't going to be the last story like
No
this.
way.
And it's the value. It's really sick. It
is sick. I don't like this conversation.
Me neither. Should we talk about Bravo?
Can we
Fuck
please?
you, Diddy.
I know. I feel like I don't like that at all.
No.
Let's talk about Bravo. I'm like really excited that Southern Charm is back. We know that this is like my kind of holy grail Bravo show.
It is.
So I'm ready. I'm here for it.
I've been waiting for this because it's such a different type of petty drama than the Housewives.
It's also like the South, which is how we kind of talk about New York can kind of play a character. Yeah. The South plays its own character, which I really enjoy. I think too, knowing how small Charleston really is and seeing like other people get brought in kind of works in a way that it wouldn't work on a Vanderpump Rules. Like they've tried to bring other people in, but LA is just so big. And whereas you know, like Charleston, like they really do know these people that are coming in. Like they've seen them around town.
They've sexted with them.
They've sexted with them, but have not met in real life, which we'll get into that, but that's so wild to me.
That's actually not that wild. And I'm actually going to remind you
videos to someone you've never even shook hands with.
It's so funny because if I like talk to my single friends, it's not that weird. And it actually reminds me of someone that I texted with for like over a year that me and you had a mutual friend. We did not sex. We just texted and was like, yeah, we'll meet up one day. And it was like when you were bored and you would like flirt text with them. And
who is this?
I'll tell you later. I'm just going to put their name in the chat.
Okay. I don't even know who that is.
Yes, you told me you did. Down the shore.
Okay, wait.
Yeah, the last name is right. The last name is right because I see you about to say it. Look at us being shady. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
Yeah. Okay,
anyway, sorry, guys. I'm like totally like thrown off right now because I did not remember this, and so we could even cut.
But it's totally normal for people to do these things. It's crazy.
I don't remember this at all. Okay, yeah.
I can't believe you don't remember this. You're the one that like said, "Yeah, Aim, good dude."
Yeah,
we just never made up. We never met up.
Out.
Oh. Well, you didn't care because I think we were like, and I can't remember. You must have been in SF already.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway, so Southern Charm is back. Sorry, guys, for the. I was just so confused. Okay, so we're back. I do love that they did bring up the BravoCon right away, like Shep's experience at BravoCon, because we talked about it on the podcast. It was everywhere. Those blinds that Bravo and Cocktails were posting, it felt like it was just like ended up, I think, being like a whole thread. You know how if there's enough coming in, they'll do like a whole like full post or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
And wasn't like, I mean, this was, for anyone that doesn't remember, Shep was at BravoCon last year and just annihilated the whole time, bitching at staff. I think yelled at one of the women poker dealers. I think he like hit or like had some altercation with an ATM.
Yeah, I remember that too.
Yeah, like
there was alleged skiing on the slopes of skiing.
Lots and lots of skiing.
If you catch our drift, allegedly.
Yeah. I don't think it's even alleged.
Yeah, no. I think he would be. I think the thing that is interesting, Shep irks me on a level that like is so beyond. Like, I
Okay.
think if I met him in real life 10 years ago, I would have been like, "Oh my god, this is so fun." I would make out with him and like,
Mhm.
he's charming." And now I'm like this entitled white like trust fund kid
Yeah, he doesn't even
just
have a job, I don't think.
he just
Does he?
his the way that he talks to women drives me insane. He's so condescending and acts like everyone is beneath. I mean, I shouldn't even say women. The way that he talks
Yeah.
to his own friends,
Yeah.
it's like he just thinks that he's so much better. He even thinks the fact that he said, "I was mad at Austin for not being my friend when I acted like a douchebag." It's like, where is your accountability in this situation, Shep? Where are you the one being like, "Oh, maybe I need to make some changes," instead of sitting there and blaming my friend who you like, where is your
I
what,
think even Taylor, like, when she's in her
yeah.
confessional, she says something about her new partner and
Mhm.
how he respects her as she makes it a point to say, "He respects me as a human,
As a
not
human.
just like a pretty girl." And I'm like, "Oh my god, I can't believe that that's even what you had to like that's your new baseline is like being respected as a just a human being on planet Earth."
And,
What did you
and
think about the boys ghosting him? Do you
that's what I'm
so
saying. Like,
do you
I
feel
like
fine with that? Do you feel like they could
yeah,
have
I do.
okay,
I think Shep needs some tough love. I think
tough.
he
Yeah,
needs
yeah.
some accountability. And I think it was their way of saying, like, shape
Yeah,
up
we're
or
tapping
ship
out.
out.
Yeah.
And it's still him saying, like, oh, like it just you see that there's no self-reflection on his part. He still wants to point the finger because he's
Mhm.
so used to not being the one that it's not his problem that he points the finger. Even when he approaches Taylor and is like, "I guess you blocked me. I guess you blocked me from being." You don't think that that girl deserves to block you. You think you're entitled to her space and her time and her energy. He is just the word entitled should just be tattooed on his forehead. It
And
drives me.
she says something along the lines like, "I don't need to know when you're hanging out with our mutual friend." So he was clearly texting her on the side, like, doing that little like
Oh, guess who I
what
saw?
people do. Yeah,
Yeah.
like trying to hold on to someone, made me
Yeah.
think of you kind
Yeah.
of vibe. And so she was probably just like, I don't need this in my life. Like, just
Yeah.
block,
And
block.
cut
That's
cut
totally
to
fine.
Gaston, like Mr. Hey Gaston.
Yeah, guess.
Okay.
Yeah, he's cute.
Gaston, he was so cute, and I just thought good for her because after last season, she had to feel a little embarrassment of kinda how things
I
went
stuck up
down
for
and her
her all
behavior.
last
Yeah,
season. I
you
was
did.
really I thought the whole thing was so blown out of proportion.
Yeah. I was happy to see Madison back because she's our
She
girl.
she like
She's
holds this cast together and
yeah.
she
She
is kind of
the glue.
yeah, I really think she
She
is.
she gives Cameron vibes from OG Cast.
Except
But
less nice, so great for reality TV.
exactly. But wait,
Because Cameron was
question.
so nice.
You asked me what I thought about the guys ghosting.
Yeah,
Shep, what
yeah.
do you think?
I I don't love a ghost, and I understand that they had to do what they had to do. I think it would have been nice for them to really just be like, "Yo, we're taking a step back. Like, you figure out your shit when you feel like." But maybe they've done that so many
And
times and it sounds like they've talked about this at the reunion last
I was
year,
gonna say,
that they probably were just at a point like, we have to do a hard drop out of this
yeah.
relationship because otherwise nothing's going to change. And they could be true, or they could be right, because sometimes when you do give a little, people take an what is that saying? Yeah, you give an I don't know what it's called, but
Give an inch and they
take
take
a
them.
mile or whatever. I think that's either way. It's my point is that like if they were showed grace again, would he kind of just take advantage of that? And I just
Yeah.
think that
And
they were not in the space for that. And like, to be honest, I do think Paige is in Craig's ear, and I don't think that's a bad thing. I mean, I've been in
people grow up.
my, partner's ear about specific people where I'm like, I don't think this makes sense for you in your life anymore.
As when you get older, this is like your relationship and your partner. They're supposed to help you grow, and that's natural and that's healthy. And I think the one thing that is interesting about Shep is that even him talking about like, oh, I went to Costa Rica and did ayahuasca, and that's his out.
The memes.
Have
Have you
you?
seen the memes about the Bravo guys
No,
doing
I
anything?
haven't.
It's like 3 photos. One is Jax with the Reiki, Tom Sandoval with that like whatever the energy guy, and then Shep doing ayahuasca. And it's like these men will do literally anything except for go to therapy.
It's like go to therapy and
Go
get
to therapy.
sober. Go to therapy and get sober. All 3 of them are literally walking ads for go to therapy and get sober. Like Shep sat
Instead,
there
they're
and was
traveling
like,
all the way to Costa
Costa
Rica
Rica.
for a 4-day ayahuasca trip, which like great,
I
do the
couldn't.
ayahuasca, but maybe if we pair it, let's maybe start with some therapy before we just go sipping on.
Shep,
I don't know.
but this is the thing.
So wild.
Shep has talked about how he's
You
been
know
in
what, though? I
therapy.
do think Jax could benefit from some ayahuasca.
Nothing's going to benefit Jax.
Yeah, I
Stop
know.
it.
All right,
Nothing.
I would be curious to see
Nothing.
what his experience is.
Could you imagine?
To watch
But this is what I'm saying. Like, even the ayahuasca trip, Shep brings it back and was like, you know, Austin, I saw your sister. Okay. I saw your sister and it made me hold space for you. Why are you looking from an apology from Austin? Where is your apology to Austin?
I also didn't like what he said about Taylor. And like how she was
kidding.
Like this bird like kept flying.
That's what
I'm like, just
he
let her
thinks.
go. Let her go. You are not part of this woman's
No.
life anymore. You're just not.
He thinks that he did her this good deed of like
Totally.
letting her go, and everything revolves around Shep.
You're so right though. He does think that he did Taylor like solid in some way.
And hopefully we can remain friends. And she owes me to be my friend because I did her this favor. I cannot wait to watch him.
Infuriated.
I know, because I can't wait.
Okay about him.
No,
until now.
No, that whole episode like got me heated, and then showing how he's basically going to be made a fool of by Miss Bahama. I honestly can't wait because someone needs to show Shep what's up.
Yeah, I'm excited for that too. Like, can we talk about JT for a sec?
Let me take a deep breath first. Hold on.
Okay. I was not nearly as harsh as I should have been last season because this guy is a Looney Tune. He is such a goober.
A goober. A goober. I love that word.
And doing this whole bit with them. And when he, like, for the first time, I was attracted to Austin when he said, "This is really weird. This is strange." Like, I was like, Austin, you can get it in this one moment because, yeah. And it was just such a genuine reaction to the cane that I was like, because I was feeling the exact same way. And it was just so bizarre. The whole thing, the canes, the buying the canes,
the hobbling with the cane,
the near-death experience.
And then they show the picture of him, of his leg, and you're like, is there a bruise on there? Like, what's on? There wasn't a bruise. There wasn't blood. It literally was just a picture of his leg. And I'm like, what's
a little bit of bruising, but yeah.
Yeah, maybe. Okay, some like 1 degree bruising.
It was certainly not near death.
It was not near death. And I'm like, can everyone stop talking about Costa Rica, please? You're ruining it for me.
Not your safe space.
Not my safe space. All of these tool bags are really ruining it for me. There was so many.
Costa Rica should really get out there and like be like, guys, stop coming here.
We do not back these
not good
tool
for
bags.
Our brand.
No, it's really not. There are so many moments of cringe in this episode when they flashed back to him standing on the stool to be eye to eye with Austin. I'm like, if that doesn't embarrass you enough and be like, maybe I shouldn't come back. And how they set this up in the store in the beginning of like him and Vanita, he said, our chemistry is, you can't deny chemistry. And I looked and I was like, what chemistry are either of you talking about?
He
You look like
actually
two teenage kids that went like after school to go clothes shopping at the mall. What are you talking about?
What's actually shocking about him is how little chemistry he has with every single person on this cast.
With any woman at all.
But like any of the guys too, like there's a real disconnect that he has with every single person on this cast that it does make you wonder, how did he get a season 2?
That's interesting because that's almost to the point like he's not self-aware.
Yeah,
To
and then you look
know.
at like this and I actually don't find that Vanita has a ton of chemistry with a lot of the cast as well. I know her and Madison are friends, but other than that, like it doesn't feel so normal. And then we have this girl Molly, this new one Molly, come in, and I already like her, and I feel like she is vibing with everyone. I mean, it seems like maybe they were obviously had friendships like previously, but there is such a natural chemistry there. She wasn't trying too hard. She was making these like funny little quips. It felt so natural, and it felt it sort of with everyone.
And this is how we get into the people when we see them doing it right. Where did they just do this? What was this? Beverly Hills with Bose. It's like we immediately knew she's going to fit. I get that vibe with Molly. At first, when the preview, when she started talking about Craig, I was like, oh no, don't you dare, bitch. Don't don't say a thing about our Paige's man because we're not going to like you. And then when you see the way that it's phrased and how she says it, like, oh yeah, we sexy, we never met each other, but whatever. You just are like, oh, you're a girl's girl. Like you're just goofing around. We get it. She's also stunning. And I cannot wrap my head around these women getting feelings for Whitney. What am I missing?
Money.
Yeah.
And Miss Pat, maybe the money and Miss Pat in that gorgeous home are such a draw. Also, he's like a little eccentric, I would say, probably more so. I've like thought about this a little bit. I'm like, what is happening?
Yeah, I can see this.
Because
there is everything about him, his eyebrows, his hair, his tinted sunglasses.
But you know, he stands apart from every other guy in Charleston. Like if you put Craig, Austin, and Shep together, like, and you mix them up and you've only seen the show once, you could kind of be like, oh, I think that one's Craig. I think that one's Shep. I think that one's Austin. Like you could really kind of intertwine them. And I've only been to Charleston once, and everyone it was pretty homogenous, to be honest. And
great word.
Yeah. And so
great word for saying white blonde people.
Whereas like Whitney is like a little eccentric and weird that you're like, oh, he's a little outside the box. Like, let me dabble with that because I could have any of the others at any given time, day, minute of the weekday. You know what I mean? Charleston is.
Molly's like a smoke bomb, though. I really.
Yeah.
Then he shows up with some like 22-year-old.
Who? Wait, Molly's comments in her confessional. She's like pretty. She seems nice. She just seems tired. She's exhausted.
That's what Molly feels like she's going to be a great fit.
I feel really like her, Paige, and Madison are going to be a really, there's like this one clip of, it's like a preview. I'm sure you've seen it when she's like, oh, I guessed on, or wait, no, that was a different girl actually.
Oh yeah.
But I just love seeing Paige and Madison. Like I could just watch Paige and Madison. Like they just need their own show. I want to hear them talk shit on everyone, on every franchise, on every Bravo show, on all pop culture. Like I need everything.
It's so true. And there's something about like Madison's Southern charm and Paige's Northeast not that is like the mix of it. They do it so well and so pretty together. We're obviously also so happy to have Paige back on our screen, even if it is through FaceTime. Hopefully we get more of that throughout the season. I mean, the season looks way better than what it's been from the previews, and hopefully it stays up. There's going to be drama.
I think there's going to be a lot of Craig and Austin dynamic stuff.
Okay. Craig not drinking was
for a little bit. I know. God damn, Paige, like you.
He also had muscles. I don't know if you saw his arm muscles.
Yeah. Good for Paige. Like getting a guy to not drink, it seems. I mean, yours doesn't really drink anyway, but like That's like a really that's hard to do.
I didn't even have to do anything. He
I
just
know.
like made the choice. So I was
I
like,
know.
great.
For
That
you.
really works for my
I was
lifestyle.
talking to this guy the other day, and I was like, someone I work with, and he's an attractive guy, and I was like, "Do you have a girlfriend?" He's like, "No," and I was like, "Do you get a lot of numbers here?" And he was like, "Yeah, I got like 3 yesterday." I was like, "Yeah, that makes sense." And I was like, "Any that you're interested in?" He's like, "I don't drink, so it's like these girls are not like." I'm meeting, they're drunk when they're like giving me
Hmm.
their phone number and stuff. And I was just like, a guy that doesn't drink. I was like, if I could go back.
It's so weird because like I have a lot of I have a few girlfriends whose significant others are sober and don't drink. And it's not like my husband's sober, but he's not. He'll like we were in Belgium the other week, and when he goes out with his Belgium friends, I know there's gonna be one night where he
Okay.
came home at 4 a.m. and there's usually like one night a year where he gets frisky and gets nuts in the US. And
I like that.
I'm the one that's like, come on. If I know that it's like about to happen, I'm like the one that's like, because he's
Yeah,
like
yeah,
a
yeah.
lovely drunk. He's a
Yeah.
good time guy. Like he's not like some of my traumatizing ex that would
Yeah.
do terrible things. So yeah,
I
it's
think it's hot.
it
I think
is.
it's
And
hot for
Craig
guys
looks
to just
hot.
yeah.
And I was never Craig looks great. I feel
Yeah.
like my opinions about him and Paige are changing too.
What do you mean? Oh, like you're on board now.
Well, I think it's easy to say it was Paige, but Craig is talking more and more about how this is impactful for his business
Yeah.
and how it's important for like what he wants. And sometimes it's just life and you're just maturing. And I'm sure like Paige is still out here drinking a giggly squad. I
I know.
mean, maybe she wasn't.
I wonder if like if they're on vacation, like let's say they're in Italy, like do you think he's having a glass of wine?
I have, from my experience with my own husband, we have been to Italy, Spain, Portugal, maybe once. Actually, in Mexico last year, he had a espresso martini with me.
Hmm.
Never drinking. He's gone to weddings, dead sober. I'm speaking for my husband,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
wild shit.
Yeah,
Maybe.
watch it. Maybe.
Crazy.
All
It's
right.
gonna be a good season.
It is gonna be. I'm very, very excited. Should we
Yeah.
get into Salt Lake City and
Let's get
Meredith's
into it.
mitzvah?
Yeah. Just like a sentence. Did you ever think you'd say?
No,
I
I
just
didn't.
these
What are
women
big
are crazy.
crazy? And I
Crazy.
was talking to my mom the other day and I was like, I think I'm really a lone ranger in that I'm actually not loving Salt Lake City. I might have said this last
Mm,
week. It feels like the entire internet is like 100% behind it, loves it. It is like, do not fire any of these women, Brittany included, perfect casting. And I am like, am I missing something? Like, what is wrong with me that I'm not loving it?
I
I can't, you know what's happening for me?
yeah, tell me.
There's all these little like fights between these two and these two and these two.
I can't follow. I
I
know.
can't follow. But then on top of that, when they sit down to have the conversation about said issue between the two people, they lose by the end, they're fighting about something else. And
I
so then
know.
I can't I already can't remember what they're fighting about. And then they bring it up. And then, like, okay, so for example, it was Angie and Brittany start talking about the slut shaming thing. And then next thing you know, they're both storming away from each other over profanities and different words that they're using. I'm like, wait, what? I thought we were,
They're all gaslighting each
I
other. They
can't
all
keep
gaslight each
up.
other. They don't even realize that they're all gaslighting each other.
I need like a little, like, you know how like on the
Do you
NFL
ever
red
see
zone,
Oh my
they
god.
like do the scribbles
No.
to
There's this
like
guy
the
on
plays.
TikTok. I
That's what
have
I
to
need.
send you this. There's this guy on TikTok that does this. I think I sent it to you. He did
This is
like
what
a
I need for
12-minute rundown
okay, great. I
of
need this.
Oh, he's so good.
I
He
need
does it
this.
like of all these pop culture things, and will like his whole shtick is like how he shows famous people. Like he'll bring a famous person on and then like explain Real Housewives of Salt Lake City and like some. I sent you one, and I think it had to do with Vanderpump.
They kind of leaned into it a little bit on this
Yeah, I
episode. There
just
was Lisa in her confessional, and they had her
Lisa's
kind of
the
trying.
but
But did
she's
you?
the
It was like clearly like producer being like, okay, Lisa, do the try and
talk about this.
explain it. And so she's in her confessional, and she's like, so this person is mad at this one, and Brahma
At the end.
yeah. And I was like, thank God that the producers
Yeah.
are like kind of like, yo, I think we're gonna lose some of the audience here if we don't bring this back together a little bit, because I am confused. Also, Bronwyn was a shit stirrer this episode.
Sure was. I'll tell you these are my theories on the fights and things I care about. I think Angie gives me Ramona Singer vibes. I was thinking about this today in my Zumba class. Angie is a little nasty bird. I don't really fuck with her. I really find her to be so off-putting, and she's another similar to Lisa, like does not take accountability and does the same thing as Lisa. Like if I'm to tell you that you're doing something that bothers me, she's like, but you do that too. And it's like, take a second, think about if you actually did that before you say you do that too.
Which is funny because Lisa literally said almost verbatim what you just said about Angie in this episode.
Oh my God. And that's what was Lisa just, she is a wackadoo. I know people love Lisa Barlow, but I don't know if it's like all the Diet Coke getting to her weave, but she is not it for me. And I usually love her. Meredith, I liked her this episode because it was sentimental, and watching her kick out Angie was the most psychotic thing I've ever seen.
I did not see that coming. Next thing, it was like Meredith heard it, came over, and immediately was like, security. And I'm thinking, you have security at your bat mitzvah?
In what like world? She was waiting for this.
Like
at your bat mitzvah, that whole sentence. You have security at your bat mitzvah?
In Salt Lake
Meredith,
City.
In Salt Lake City?
It's not like it's at some bougie spot like Zero Bond in New York City. Like it's in Salt Lake City.
Who's coming to?
And honestly, it's probably not even Salt Lake City. It's probably Park City, which is even like, I'm pretty sure.
Of course it was, because it was on the slopes. And then these men come and walk Angie and her husband out.
She's so bizarre.
Brittany, the lines that Angie said to Brittany though about her hair and having, what kind of hair did she call her? Easy hair or stripper hair or
high body count?
High body count hair. That was pretty good. It was pretty good. It was pretty funny. And Brittany just seems so like, she seems like that girl in school that you could just like, she's just so easy to pick on. That sounds so freaking nasty to say.
So insecure.
And she's like, I don't have high body count hair. Oh my God. And then Angie walks away and was like, yeah, wear your bump it. I'm like, this is the craziest shit. So good.
Woman we've seen on Bravo.
She's giving Sheena.
She is good.
She's giving Sheena. That's so interesting.
I found Brock because this is what we would.
She is giving Sheena. Brittany would definitely buy someone a penguin.
She probably has bought someone a penguin.
Probably has. I know. This is not high body count hair. I just like couldn't take that line.
And Lisa being like, "But you do need some sort of treat." I forget what she called.
That she said you do need a carrot tease. This is what I mean. They're fucking crazy. I don't even have anything good to say about this. Mary's trying to sneak in the bat mitzvah and peering through the sides of the doors was the most cringe thing I've ever seen, and will go down in Bravo history of like Mary sneaking through the windows trying to get in. That's going to go down in the history books. Bronwyn, I'm over her.
This episode was a little weird. The way that okay, so she was like stirring it in the beginning, and then when she said, oh, also Brittany said that you probably were a slut or something about Angie. I was like, wait, what? Like,
she just said, let's be friends. Yeah, you just said to her, let's be friends. But that's what, like,
she
Bronwyn
came for mess today.
Yeah, and Bronwyn's giving me, like, I'm trying to keep my snowflake. It's like, you better pick if you want to choose your man and your money or your snowflake, because it doesn't seem like it's going to be going.
It doesn't seem like you can have both.
No.
Or, you're going to have to not invite him to these events.
Please, because him, like, reprimanding her
Yeah,
like
I
my
can't.
dad used to if I got in trouble in school,
Yeah,
it's so uncomfortable to watch.
it is
I think,
uncomfortable.
Puerto Vallarta is gonna be seems
I'm
like it's
s
gonna be great.
Every time any of these women on any of these franchises go on a trip, I get so nervous. I'm like,
Yeah.
we just know it's
Lotta
gonna be bad, it's not gonna be fun, and it's really a shame that they take all that time and money to travel to these places to just have blowouts at every dinner.
every dinner, and you already see it's gonna go there. It's gonna go there.
Ugh,
So, we'll catch that next week.
yeah.
Beverly Hills is back, baby.
I love Beverly Hills, I really do.
Yeah, like,
I
if I'm
think I was
thinking
talking to
about
yeah, go ahead.
no, if I'm thinking about my week, it's Beverly Hills and Southern Charm at this point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I was just talking to my friend about it the other day, and she hasn't watched Beverly Hills, and I really was, like,
Mm.
pushing it. She had watched the most couple of the most recent episodes with her sister-in-laws, and she was like, "It's really good." And I was like, "It's so good." Like, I did has Beverly Hills ever had a real flop error? Because I rewatched recently, and I remember enjoying the whole rewatch, whereas, like, I still cannot get through the OC. I and
Yeah,
apparently
no.
and apparently I haven't even I was talking to my cousins, they were like, "Oh, you haven't even hit the flop era yet." I'm like, "What?"
Of what?
Of Real Housewives of OC. I can't,
Oh.
like, seem to
I
get
feel
through it.
like there was a lull after, LVP left
Like,
when Lisa Rinna was trying to stay relevant,
oh, and
but
she was just blashing out at every opportunity.
yeah.
It was annoying. She was annoying,
Yeah.
but I don't know if it was floppy.
No, I don't feel like there's ever been a flop, like, we've seen it happening with the others, but they're doing a good
Casting?
yes.
You
Why
got
can't
it.
I couldn't thank you.
That's fine. Yeah, so I do wanna talk about I think one of the things that stood out
Aw,
most to me in this episode,
I
I
know.
feels like Kyle's feeling the Mauricio's breakup more now
Yeah,
than in I think maybe Morgan was, like, a nice distraction in the early days of the breakup,
yeah,
and now that he's, like, moved out and bought furniture, she's really feeling it, and even when she's having lunch with Sophia and or not Sophia, with Portia, and she's, like, asking, like, "Who's your dad going with? Is it, like, weird if I ask?" And I was like, "Oh, fuck, she's feeling it now."
and
And
I think
I'm not even a Kyle, like, fan really, but
yeah.
this is just that sucks, like, that is heartbreaking.
I think also there's this thing about their relationship that's really interesting to me that when Kyle and Mo had that conversation and Kyle's in her confessional saying like, "Oh, I thought he would rent furniture, but he's buying furniture, which makes it more permanent." And then
Mhm.
they ask in the confessional, "Oh, do you see yourself getting back together?" And she says, "I don't want to answer that." Um it doesn't feel like they have big conversations, and I don't know how to say that in another way. It seems like
They
sh
Go
it
ahead,
seems
sorry.
like she no, I know, because it's like when you're in a relationship, it seems like she is so non-confrontational that even when she's talking to him, she doesn't want to ruffle the feathers about his new apartment or ask him too much details, and it made me
She has
sad.
said previously too that
Yeah.
their relationship was like that,
Yeah.
that they didn't have big arguments and this and that, and, like, some people think that that's healthy, but I do
I
think that,
just
like, big arguments sometimes need to happen because
to get
you
through to
gotta
the
get
other
through it.
side.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you gotta
Yeah.
get through it. So,
It
yeah,
almost
ugh,
it made
yeah.
me feel like she was being taken advantage of in a way, and I don't know how to say it in a better way because that seems like a shitty thing to say, but when she was sitting there and they're on the couch and he's laughing and she's like trying to say like, "Oh, you don't have any responsibilities.
You could
You
tell
get
she was frustrated by
I
that.
know. And you get to just be in your apartment and you get to just like you know what Mo's doing. We all know what he's doing.
Mhm.
We've seen him in Aspen. We've seen him in other paparazzi pictures. It's like she was trying to say that to him but won't confront him on those things.
Yeah,
She won't
that
even confront him about the picture in the desk changing. Like,
I know she was married to this man for 20 years,
was
20
it all
more
just
than that.
brushing everything under the
I
rug?
know. There had to be
Some
some
insight.
of that, because I don't think it's any. I think he's definitely fucked around on her before.
I think this makes it more apparent to the viewers by that conversation that it's almost obvious to us that she would almost not even, if she thought it or knew about it, she wouldn't confront the situation.
Which goes to show that that's why their relationship always looked so picture
Yeah.
perfect, because she wasn't bringing anything up. So like there
No.
weren't any arguments, and he was kind of, I mean, that's
Living
the
the
guy
best
that he was the dream. That's a
living
dream.
the
I
dream.
can fuck around and I don't have to find out, because she's never gonna be confrontational with me, and especially not on TV.
No. And then putting all of our stuff out there, because you can tell she wants to keep it private.
Yeah, we know more about PK and Dorit's divorce from the first episode than we know
Yeah.
about Kyle and Mauricio's for the last like 2 years.
Yeah. It was real. I don't know why I'm so sad about that one.
I think because I think for this, I mean, at least in this episode, you could see it hitting her.
Yeah.
Because I think that Morgan's not in the picture right now. I don't know what the story with that whole situation is, but she's not there. He moved out. Sophia's moved, like all the girls are moved out except for Portia.
Yeah.
It's just quiet. She said it in her confessional. Like, I'm not, like when she was trying to like, I'll buy you towels. I'll buy you this. It was like she was needing to be needed. And he's like, I'm good. Him constantly laughing and being like, everything's great. I'm like,
my fist would have been in his mouth.
I was getting so frustrated.
Would have been in his mouth.
Get out of my house.
Get out of my house.
These dogs are also yours. Take one of them.
Right. Take care of it. No.
I have no interest. It's like, oh, so everything is on her.
But imagine that was their relationship.
Oh,
like this.
He's
like,
giving me such the ick.
I know.
I really am not into him at all.
No, there were some other.
He's so hot, hononestly. That's so
because
annoying.
he'll get so many women. Like he's never gonna have an issue. And if
it's
Kyle,
not like a PK situation where you're like Mauricio
PK's still gonna.
hot.
Okay.
Yeah. That was like the big. I mean, it
was heartbreaking. I think for longtime viewers, it was sad to watch Kyle in that position. Love her or not,
Jennifer Tilly getting that Simpsons money is great. I have a funny story.
She's
about
gold.
Her, actually.
Tell me.
So I have a friend that is like obsessed with her. Guy loves her. He's like into like horror films, and she's
I think you mentioned this. Go ahead.
And so he got up one day and was like, "She's in San Francisco. I'm gonna go find her." And I was like, "Okay." Like,
I feel like you said, yeah.
Did I already tell the story on here?
I think so.
Oh,
go ahead, tell it again. You're already halfway through.
So he set out that day to go find her and found her. And like just like was bopping around different neighborhoods, and that was just what he was doing for the day. He was gonna go try to find Jennifer Tilly. And I was like, I just, as someone who loves celebrities and I can't find them. Like they never around when I'm around. Like to me, it felt like such a long shot that I was like, okay, well, enjoy, get a few beers, whatever, pop around the city. And then he found her, and I was just like, wait, what?
I also don't believe you can't find them. You just need to pick your head up.
Yeah, maybe.
It's true. But I like her. She's a fun addition. I love having Kathy back on our TV being her goofy little self. The other thing that we get into in this episode is Kyle and Dorit getting into it at dinner.
Before we go there is just, as someone who loves Garcelle, I don't like that she's just already gunning for Dorit when Dorit's already kind of in a vulnerable space. Like her and Boz are having that conversation on the beach at the end of the table, and Garcelle has to make a negative comment about it. And I love Garcelle. I just didn't really get it. Like I was like, can they not just have, like, they're at the other end of the table. Why can they not just be having that conversation? And like, you could see that there was like a moment where Sutton was about to say something nasty, but like no one could really hop on board because it was so unfair. It felt like no one was really giving it that much light after Garcelle said something.
That's interesting. And I think we're going to see a little bit of that in the next episode. I saw a little preview where Garcelle interrupts Kyle and Dorit's continued argument from this dinner. And Dorit's like, what did you say? And Garcelle's like, oh, I don't feel that you are authentic. And Garcelle's like, okay, of course you would feel that way. Or Dorit says, of course you would feel that way. Like you've always, and it's almost like let Bose come to her own conclusions about Dorit.
Totally.
Even if you don't like someone, I'm still a strong believer in like maybe keep your opinions to. I don't know. Maybe
Also,
I'm not a
like,
strong believer in that.
I feel like at this point, if I was Dorit, anything Garcelle says about me is sort of rolling over me. Like,
yeah.
We just
That's
don't
the
vibe.
vibe.
You don't
Yeah.
like me. It is
Right.
what it is. Like,
You're
what
gonna
you
talk
say
shit.
about me it is like affecting me absolutely zero because
Right.
it's just you have a totally different perception of who I am.
And then we get into this Kyle and Dorit fight at the table. I know that this is production and we have to have this conversation. It felt so weird to have this conversation at the dinner table. The one thing I really do not like, and I hate when people
Every
do
time
this.
a toast comes, like
It's like, here's our toast to a great night.
Wait, what are those
and we
things?
should have this conversation.
A toast hates to see the housewives coming, because
It's such a good one.
Because
That's a good one.
as soon as the toast happens, it starts out nice, and then immediately by the end, it's like, and I know we have our issues, and we should talk about them right now at this table.
Right now. And the thing that I didn't like that Dorit was doing, which I think I hate when people do this when they fight, is bring other people into it by saying like, Erica felt this way too. Like that just immediately feels like a gang up. You don't have to do that. Speak
Except
only for yourself.
I think Kyle lives in this world where she thinks everyone is always on her side. And I feel
but
like
it doesn't, it's not for Dorit. I don't think it's for Dorit to say that Erica's not on your side about this. I think if Dorit felt a certain way, she could have just said, this is how I feel. It's just a dirty way of arguing. And I feel if that's all you're coming from is having to bring someone else into it, then you don't have a strong enough argument. Back your argument, but up better. And Dorit has plenty to say to Kyle if she feels strongly. I just think she is weaker.
Kyle is really keeping score, I gotta say.
Yeah, 1 for 1.
She is like
talent.
She's got like a whole. I mean, I said it last week. I think I said it even the week before, but she really does have like just a little book of things to pull in Dorit, and she's ready to use them at any opportunity.
And it's like it's like there's obviously been things that have been bothering her, and she said like that's just the running list. Because the BravoCon stuff, it's not it for me. Like, I'm like, what are we missing?
The other thing that's a little strange, though, is that Kyle says in that text message at the reunion last year that, like, that's the most hurt she's been by a friend and this and that. But I think if Dorit exaggerated the relationship, the friendship, then how could it be that hurtful?
Right.
It feels like in total conflict to what Kyle's trying to say.
Interesting.
Like if someone's texting me and it's the most hurtful thing, then that person is a real friend to me, and that's why it's hurtful. If it's someone that I think is exaggerating the friendship, then I'm taking it with a little bit less. I don't know.
But I think to your point, what I don't think it was is I think it was pulling the wool over everyone else's eyes about who Kyle was. And in turn, Kyle's saying that's hurtful because she feels betrayed. But what it really is that like, you showed everybody who I am. And like, I don't like that you showed everybody that side of me that makes me look a little bit manipulative. And I feel like she's almost saying like, oh, it's hurtful as my friend, but really it's like
hurtful for me and the audience.
It's a bad look. It's a bad look. It doesn't paint me in the best light. And you should know better than to do that as my friend or acquaintance. And it's like, it's almost like you should know how to play this game. And I still do not understand their fight. I just don't. It like goes back to Salt Lake City. Like, could we get a map? Could we get a breakdown? Is it really over BravoCon? What are these other little things? I think me and you talked about this a few weeks ago where we said like, I just
what is their fight?
No, but I just don't think that Kyle valued even bringing up the Teddy thing. Like, you didn't stick up for Teddy at BravoCon.
Why is Teddy even involved?
But why would Dorit have to if Kyle was already sticking up for her? Why would then Dorit need to get on and say it too? I just think I don't know if I just don't think Kyle valued Dorit's friendship in the same way Dorit did. I don't think it feels to me that Dorit doesn't have a lot of other friends
Yeah, I
other
agree with
than
that.
the circle. And it seems like in her marriage, she isolated herself. And I think PK, like there's codependency there. Maybe there's some codependency in her friendships. And it's almost like she just put so much more on this friendship than what Kyle did. Because I think to all of us, we see Kyle surrounded by a lot of
She's
women,
always
whether
with
it's
friends,
Faye or Kris Jenner, like,
yeah.
she seems to have a lot
Her
of strong.
circle's big, yeah.
Yeah. And I think with Dorit, it was a little different. So, yeah.
I feel like she just, like, started to get annoyed by Dorit, and, like, I think it really did just start from
Fair.
being annoyed.
Yeah,
Like,
fair.
not that Dorit had done anything, it was just, like, little things, and then I'm assuming what happened is that the energy started to shift, like, Kyle found herself annoyed to be around her, and then Dorit started to feel that back, and then that sort of just kind of bubbling up.
And if she wanted, I just think if Kyle wanted to make it work, she would.
Yeah.
I know we're at time.
Yeah.
We still need to get into RHONY. We can touch base on RHONY. Fun things are happening on RHONY-ish.
I guess Brynn was, like, a little bit more likable, which is terrible that she was likable because she was I mean, that's how it
No,
goes,
but
so.
that's what we
Yeah, that's
talked
how it goes.
about.
Yeah.
But that's what we talked about is that we were missing from Brynn. I do want to say about RHONY, like you said, the one thing that really stuck out for me and for you was Brynn bringing to light her story. And
Yeah.
we've been saying for weeks, we want her to be more genuine. And I think when she talked to her ghostwriter about, there was something she said about like, oh, I remember I made a dick joke and I felt like, oh my God, I'm back. As silly as that was, it was like
It explains a lot, though.
It did, didn't it?
Yes, it was like, oh, okay, this is her leaning into the flirty joking is like this reminder to herself that, oh, I got through this trauma.
And this is who I am and I can still do this.
It's like taking the power back.
Exactly. And it made me like her all over again.
Yeah.
And painted her, like it gave me my hard eyes back for her and opened up like a softness to her that I've been wanting to have.
Sorry, my dog's barking.
Raleigh agrees with me.
Yeah.
Raleigh agrees with me.
That's all right. Well, Amazon is ringing the doorbell. So
we'll be back next week with an all new episode of Bonded by Bravo. Follow us on TikTok and Instagram. Like us on, wherever you like us. Bonded by Bravo
Instagram,
Pod. Tell your friends about us. Until next week, friends.